Hi, my name is Natalie, and I have been teaching and practicing Tantric meditations for the past 10 years, and I also do private sessions with people that help open emotional blockages around problems and issues that people have with sexuality and relationships, or just in general in life. And I also teach meditation and inner work for people who actually, want to open their emotional blockages and maybe start practicing meditation every day to be more present in their life and in their sexual life and just in general. So that's basically what I do. Today I wanted to talk about how long sex should last for. And I'm hesitating because I think that the question itself is strange, because it's like asking how long should you meditate for? And it is a question that people ask, so I thought I would talk about that today. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. And of course, if you like my videos, you're more than welcome to subscribe and to like. And I upload these quite often. I just recently started this YouTube channel, and thank you for all the new subscribers. And yeah, welcome to my channel. So how long should sex last? First of all, we need to define sex, because I found out that people define sex differently. So some people will say the sex began once I penetrated into the woman, once the lingam goes in the yoni, as they say in Tantra. And other people will say no, from the minute we kissed, that's when the sex starts. Or the sex begins when we're naked, or the sex begins when we touch each other's genitals. All right, so every person has a different definition of sex. A lot of men who've asked me this did mean the actual penetration. Why? Because there's a difference in sensation. There's a difference in the sexual energy that's inside of your body when, you're just doing things and touching it, than to when it's inside a woman. So that's a completely different experience. So you might be okay with all the foreplay and the touching and the, pleasuring each other manually or orally. But then when you actually go inside of her, suddenly everything changes, and that's when you kind of lose it and maybe lose control of their sexual energy and prematurely ejaculate. That's an option that happens to people. So when we talk about when does the sex begin, in my experience, the sex starts as soon as I have started to feel the sexual energy in my body. So I have a tingling down there, or, woman, man, it doesn't matter. We start to feel the sexual energy in our body when we're with someone else, and we start to kiss, to touch each other. That's when the sex begins. Theoretically and philosophically, maybe even spiritually, the sex begins the moment we meet each other, because that's the moment where my energy meets his energy. So we've each come from a different place, and then we meet up. So my energy, his energy. And then when we meet, it changes both of our energies. So if this is a romantic or a sexual meeting, from the minute that we met, the sexual energy was activated and I started to vibrate. My vibration is different from the moment I met him. And you can go even further back than that, and you could say from the moment that we said we would meet, my energy changed, because I know I'm going to meet him and I get excited and I'm looking forward to it. Maybe it even began when I just thought of meeting him. So when we talk about sex in Tantra, it's about when did the sexual energy get activated? And that can be even the moment we set the date. So that's when we started to have sex, because we started to affect each other's energy in a sexual way, but it's still the energy. So when we look at it like that, asking how long should the sex last is just a strange question. The sex begins when we activate each other's sexual energy, and it probably ends when we part ways and our energy, the vibration, goes back to a balanced state that we were in before this whole thing began. So, and I think it's important, because once we activate each other's sexual energy, even if it's from afar before we've even met, we are affecting each other, and things are happening to me, and specific thoughts are starting to come up, and I'm starting to feel sensations in my body. So it does matter. And when people talk about like I'm good or not good at sex, they always talk about the physical elements, but they don't really recognize what happens before and after. And when we're talking in a tantric way about sex, a lot of it is about what happens before and after the sex emotionally. That does affect what we experience together physically, but we can't just look at the physical. We don't live in a purely physical world. We live in a physical and a spiritual and a mental world. So these are three worlds that kind of exist together at the same time, just like we have the mental body, the emotional body, and the physical body. And they're all parts of who we are. So we can't ignore one or the other. We need to take all three into considerations. So the sex begins when I mentally start thinking about the person and I want to have sex with them. And then maybe the first interaction is going to activate the emotional body. So the mental body, then the emotional body, and the energy, the sexual energy. And then when we meet, then the physical bodies meet and the physical sexual energy is activated. But this is part of a whole thing that's happening, and it does not begin when we start touching each other. And I think that's important to understand, because then we can take accountability and responsibility for the entire experience and not just focus on the mere few minutes of the physical experience, because that's just a mirror to all the other things that are happening at the same time. And if we just look at the physical layer of the experience, we're probably going to be frustrated, because, you know, if we have physical issues in sex and we're only looking at it in a physical way, and we've done all these things and we can't solve the physical problem, we're going to be in a dead end. If we don't look at the emotional part and the mental part as well as the physical body, nothing's going to change, and we won't be able to fix our problems around that area, because we think that it's just a physical issue and we're trying to fix it in a physical way. And again, that's what like modern medicine has taught us. You know, you have a specific problem, you do this, 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 and this, and then you won't have the problem anymore. And that's healing on a pure physical level. It's good, it can help, but it's not enough. If we only look at ourselves as physical beings, we're missing all the magic of being a human being, which is all the energy and the emotions and the mental states that we're in. So we can't ignore that. But if we were to talk for a minute about just the physical element of sex, how long is good sex on a pure physical level? That also changes from person to person. And you know, you have the quickie, which is usually like, we don't have time to have a full-on session, but we really want to do it, so let's do it until we come, and maybe that will last like 5-10 minutes. And then if we do have time, you know, maybe it will last an hour, but maybe the hour includes the talking and the touching and the kissing and the hugging, and then the actual act of lingam inside the yoni, of the male genital inside the female genital. How long should that last? That's also a matter of taste. Like, different people like different things, but what I can say is, if you're having fun, why are you with a stopwatch? Why are you even counting how long this is lasting? Why aren't you just enjoying it and having fun? Why does it matter how long it lasted? What are you keeping track? Like, is this a competition? If it was longer, does it mean it was better? I don't really think that's how it works. I think, like with any piece of art, the quality of the experience, the fact that I'm having fun and that I'm fully present, I think that's the most enjoyable, pleasurable thing that we can experience. And if that lasts 5 minutes or 2 hours, I don't really think that matters that much. And that's just my opinion. And I think that's looking at sex in the wrong way, as like a mission, and she has to come, and it has to be this and this many minutes long. And if it's not, then I'm not good. You're good, you're fine. You're not, that's too much attention on the irrelevant things and not enough attention on the important things. And if we put more attention on the important things, which is paying her attention, connecting to the sensations, enjoying the pleasure without any guilt or shame, and just be fully present in the moment with another human being, sharing this magical experience. And I think that's what we want to experience. And I don't think a lot of us know how to, so I'm talking about it and maybe helping a few people have better sex. But again, better sex just means that it's fun. You know, when When you're doing something fun, you don't ask how long is there left. You just enjoy yourself. You usually ask how long is left when you're not having fun. So I would raise the question of like, why am I counting the minutes that I'm having sex? Something's wrong here. I'm not looking at this in the right way. Why do I lack confidence? Why do I not think I'm good enough? Why am I like keeping score of the time? And I think those are the important questions to ask. If I add another thing on the physical level, I mean, the goal is to have fun. So when it's not fun anymore, stop. Women do take longer to reach orgasms, so I guess the longer you hold, the better. But then if suddenly we don't have sexual energy in our body anymore, it's going to be painful. So that's why I'm trying to say, like, there are no rules. Every person's very different, and let's focus on the important things instead of the very non-important things. So I hope that helped. That's what I wanted to talk about today. Everything I talked about is the same with meditation. There's no right amount of time to do it. It should be fun. It should feel good. And if it feels good, then I'll just want to keep on doing it more and more and more and more. I don't have to count the time. But that's maybe for another video. Thank you for watching. I hope it was helpful. I would love to hear what you think about this subject in the comments. And again, if you liked the content on my channel, please subscribe. And I will see you again in my next video.